All right, so this is a first for me in my career, as this will be the first time I've interviewed brothers involved in our great sport at the exact same time. Coincidentally enough, they will both be competing on Dana White's Contender Series for a shot at UFC Contract, and on the same card on August 18th, we have Orion Cosce, right? Cosce, I screwed that up. He's going to face Matt Dixon, and then his younger brother Lewis, who's going to headline that event against Victor Rayner. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. How are you this morning?
Good. Doing good.
So this is very exciting stuff, not just for the opportunities in front of both of you guys, but you guys have the chance to take that next step together, which I think is really cool. Orion, let me start with you. What does this all mean to you to not only be getting this opportunity to compete in front of Dana White and Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby, but to share this with your brother?
Years of hard work finally being recognized when we thought it should have been recognized a long time ago.
And Lewis, what do you think? Because this is pretty cool for multiple reasons, is it not?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm just happy to be able to compete during this crazy time, and actually get the opportunity to kind of change life on August 18th.
Orion, when you say that you feel like you guys haven't gotten, that opportunity that you deserve and the attention, so to speak, what do you mean by that? Do you feel like you haven't received that shine that some of these other fighters may have gotten? Why do you think that is?
We just come from a small area. It's hard. We're from Humboldt County. Not a lot of fighters are noticed at a Humboldt. It took my brother getting Nazo Combate for our name to finally get recognized. It took for me to move to Alpha Male for us to get recognized in a bigger location. And it's just one of those things where we were noticed by Uriah a couple of years back before I made a move down to Sacramento. But it's just one of those things where we've been working our asses off for a very long time. And we both felt like we should have been in the UFC a couple of years ago now, but it is what it is. For me, the sport's nothing but politics, and we're just blessed to be able to finally be a part of the sport. And come August 18th, we're going to go show the world why we deserve those contracts, and then just keep rolling the ball with it.
Lewis, do you agree with that as well? I mean, you're a couple of years younger here, but do you feel like you guys haven't gotten the respect that you feel you deserve?
I just think it's because where we live at, it's just a small area, If I make it to the UFC, I'll be the first person to ever make it from here. We both will from this area. It's a really small town. It's not too big, but yeah, we'll show everybody.
Are you guys don't train? You guys both aren't at Alpha Male, right? Like one trains where you're at, and then Orion, you're at Alpha Male. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Why aren't you there, Lewis? Is there a reason for that? You just wanted to stay in your small town? How did that all kind of come together? Do you just don't want to be around your brother that much? What's going on?
No. I was a young parent. I was like 19 years old, and I ended up and then just kept on training, working, trying to provide for my family and stuff, and then just kept on training, and the right fights came on, the right opportunities. So, yeah.
When you guys actually got into the sport, how did that all work? Did one of you get into it first, or is this something you guys both broke into together?
Yeah, I ended up starting fighting first. Orion was going to go wrestle in college. I was kind of done wrestling at the time. I just wanted to start fighting and getting on to the MMA. So I ended up having an MMA fight like pretty much right after high school. And then Orion came and courted me, and then he pretty much knew what he wanted to do from there too.
So how did you wrestle and actually in college, Orion, or did you just say, nope, I'm going right to MMA?
Well, I went to Oregon State for a year, but when I went to school, there was something up with like the counseling and the athletic staff that was going on during that time. So they set up all my classes during wrestling practices. So I was only able to make it to one or two practices like a week. And obviously, if you want to wrestle, you got to be making every single practice. And I wasn't able to do that because the way they set up my classes. And then when I was trying to reschedule my classes, they were no help. And so I was like, I'm not going to redshirt a year. I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to go right into fighting. And then, I cornered my brother and we did all that. And I was like, nah, I know exactly what the hell we're going to do.
So what brought you into the sport, Lewis, to sort of, I mean, you have the wrestling background, but was there a reason it turned into MMA? And was there a certain fight, certain thing that got you into it? Like what got that ball rolling for you?
To be honest, I always kind of wanted to fight ever since I was a little kid. I remember watching Pride and thinking that this is what I wanted to do. Kind of weird scenario looking back on it now, being a little kid wanting to do this kind of stuff. But I just love to compete, man. It's just a chance to keep competing, kind of stay young, you can actually make a pretty good living off it nowadays, and it's a good way to get recognized and get my name out there. Chef Power Life on the map.
And this is the first time you guys are fighting on the same card together, right?
No.
You guys have fought on the same card before?
Yeah, when we were on the amateur circuit. Or no. We fought on a pro circuit together and an amateur circuit together, too.
When was the last time you guys fought on the same card together?
I think that was August 10th.
Yeah, it was at it was on a Dragon House card down in San Francisco.
WRCC?
Yep. Yeah.
So not that long ago.
No, about a year ago.
About a year ago.
Is it a little weird being on the same card? I mean, especially in this situation because, Orion, you're going to fight first, and then Lewis is in the headliner spot. So, Lewis, how do you kind of approach that? Like, if he fights before you, are you going to be watching it very intently, or do you have to sort of separate yourself from it because you have a fight to prepare for?
Sure. I'm going to be watching my brother because I want him to win. But all that stuff is, no, I don't really get pumped up or too overexcited. I mean, we've been competing together since we were little kids, like on the wrestling circuit, on all that stuff. So for me, it's just kind of like another day. I'm just excited for the opportunity, you know.
And then for you, Orion, I'm sure you're looking forward to enhancing your career and getting that jump up to the UFC, getting that notoriety that you feel you deserve. But is there a part of you that feels like you need to set the table for Lewis here, that your performance can kind of spark a little extra something for him?
No, I just need to go out and do what I do best, and that's be exciting and try to finish my opponent in any shape or form, because I already know that as soon as we go out, we're both just going to be doing our own thing. And at the end of the day, we've always finished our opponents. We've done it in an exciting fashion, and it doesn't matter what I do. Like, you know, I can't put that on Lewis, and Lewis can't put his results on me. It's one of those things where I want to fight first right off the bat, because co-main to main event, you know, I won't have time to go and watch my brother fight. And so the way we've always done it was, it's going to be a little different because of COVID right now, but like if he was the co-main and I was the main, he would be able to like fight, and they would wait for him to finish whatever he'd have to do so he could either A, be in my corner, or B, have time to watch my fight, and vice versa. So with what's going on right now, I mean, he'll watch my fight, but we're not going to get super excited. We don't get adrenaline rush because we've been wrestling together on the, you know, same tournaments our whole lives, training together our whole lives. To us, this is just fucking business.
Is there just two of you guys, or is there more siblings in the family?
There's more.
There's more siblings, but have both the same mom and dad. The other ones have like the same dad, same mom.
So Ryan, you're gonna fight Matt Dixon, fellow undefeated fighters from Oklahoma. Most recently fought for LFA, got a decision win. He's fought guys with I guess a consistent amount of experience throughout his career. But when you look at the matchup from like an X's and O's perspective, what do you think of it all?
I think he's slow. I mean, he's obviously 9-0 for a reason, so he's obviously, you know, slouch. He's got power behind his hands. He seems athletically gifted, but at the same time, he does seem slow and susceptible in the stand-up. And I don't think he's ever actually faced a decent wrestler or grappler. So it's going to be one of those things where when he fights me, if I put my hands on him heavy, or if I'm throwing knees and elbows, you know, he becomes desperate. Like as soon as he gets cracked once, he becomes desperate for the take. He does not like to get hit, whereas we grew up, we love to get hit, and so that's something that I'm going to have the advantage on. Is if he comes in heavy, I'm just going to return even, you know, harder.
And Lewis, you're going to fight Victor Reina. This is his second shot of the Contender Series. Lost decision to Miguel Baeza last season, but he's been in there with a few guys who are in the UFC now. Guys like Kevin Holland. He has a win over Daniel Rodriguez. What do you think of your matchup?
I like it, man. I like it. It'll be definitely the toughest fight I've had so far, and he has a pretty good experience, but I'm going to look out there and go crush this dude. And the only way to go do this is by actually showing it, not really talking about it. So I can't wait to prove it, but we'll see. I'm sure he's going to be tough. I'm sure he's looking for the opportunity. I'm sure he's training hard and all that stuff, but I have the youth. I think I have a lot of things over him, and I just got to show it.
I know you guys are in two different spots for camp and getting ready for the fight. Are your approaches pretty similar when it comes to your opponents? Like, do you guys watch film, or do you more or less focus on yourselves and try to be the best martial artist you can be? Like, how does that work between you guys? Orion, I'll start with you.
We tend to watch a few films. I mean, my opponent, like you said, he just recently fought on LFA, and then he has two previous fights within a year span before that. So I'll watch those just to get a good idea to see if he's changed in any of his fights. And so far, he hasn't changed anything. But at the end of the day, too, he's had time to change as an athlete. So I got to go in there, and I can't just expect him to do the same things over and over unless it's something I've seen consistent throughout his whole entire career. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to go in there. I don't really think when I fight. I don't have a game plan. Like when I go in, the first thing I think of is I got to go and set the pace, but that's it. I don't think about what move I'm setting up. I don't think if I'm going to go for a takedown right now. I just let my body do what it does because I have time to think when I'm practicing. The longer I practice, the harder I practice. And just going to be one of those things where I'm going to just go out there and try to break his will. That's all it is to it.
And what about you, Lewis? Do you approach things pretty similarly to your brother?
Yeah, I watch the guy's film. I don't really try to watch it a whole lot, though, to be honest. I try to take a few things from it, and then I just try to focus on myself more than anything. I don't try to focus on the other guy too much because you kind of sit there and stuck on, like, what you need to do to adjust to his style, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try to get myself better and better for each fight and beyond that. The only way to do that is just keep training and keep improving every day. So the game plan's still the same always.
Are you guys excited to fight in like that empty arena setting and be able to sort of hear everything around you? Because, I mean, this is probably going to be a change for you guys. So, Lewis, what excites you about this aspect of fighting in an empty arena? It's almost like more of a primal thing.
Yeah, I like it. It's like meeting up and just scrapping, I'm paid to go meet up and scrap real fast. But you do it right there in front of the big boss who's like what everybody dreams of. To get that big contract, a chance to change your life. So, I mean, that you got that on your shoulders and stuff, but the fact that you get to meet up and kind of scrap in like this little warehouse type deal, I think that's pretty cool. So, yeah.
All right. Do you sort of feel the same way that there's a little less pressure doing it that way? Because a lot of fighters I've talked to, even in the UFC, people who had like co-main events, main events, they feel like it's almost like just a sparring session, so to speak. Do you feel it'll kind of be the same way, that there's a little less pressure fighting in front of like 5 people?
I mean, it makes sense why a lot of those guys aren't really throwing as hard as they used to and they had more fans watching. No, if I'm going to go out and fucking fight a dude, I'm going out there to try to kill them. They're not my homie. I don't give a guy a second to tap. Like, if I got a choke, I'm trying to break their vocal cords. And if I have their arm, I'm just quickly breaking it. I've done it a couple of times. I don't wait. They're going out there to try to fucking hurt me. And fans or no fans, I'm going to go out there and fucking hurt this dude.
Well, here's the big question, Orion. We start with you. How do you get this thing done on August 18th? How does this thing all play out in that apex?
I visualized it over and over in my head. I believe I'm going to finish him in the first round, whether it be a KO or a submission. I've never let the judges ever decide one of my fights, but I'm also ready to go all 3 rounds if it needs be. But each time I've broken everybody's will that I fought, and he's not going to be any different, undefeated or not. I'm just a different caliber of fighter.
And Lewis, you'll fight at the top of the card after your brother does his thing. How do you follow it up?
I want to knock him out.
Just like that. Nice and simple. I'm sure you both have pictured that moment after your fights on August 18th. You're sitting in the back. You're in those director's chairs. Dana White's about to head out and talk to Laura Sanko. He's getting to your fights, wondering if you're going to get the contract. Orion, what will hearing those words, "Gotta have this kid, welcome to the UFC," what is that going to mean to you?
I mean that all the hard work's finally paid off and that we made it to the bid show. All the people that told us growing up, fighting's not a career, it's a hobby. You got to have something else as a backup. Yeah, I get it, but, we're at that moment now where all those same people are eating crow and they're kind of on the bandwagon. But I believe that he'll announce us both at the same time because it's just better media.
That is true. And what will that mean to you, Lewis? Because, you were a young dad at 19 and you've gone through this road and now you're here. What will that mean to you getting that contract?
Man, I mean everything to have that from me and my brother. It's just hard work paying off, all the years paying off. It's just a dream come true. So I'm looking forward to it.
I want to sort of wrap with this question because it just kind of popped into my head moments ago as you guys were talking about the fight game. But I always try to bridge the gap between fighter, fan, media, etc. whenever I get the opportunity. So, Lewis, let me ask you this: as fans, we see guys training hard, you guys getting ready for fights, making sacrifices. It's the definition of, if it were easy, everyone would do it, but it's only a world for a select few. So what would you say is like the main thing about the life of a fighter, of this sport, that fans, media, what's something that we don't see that those who aren't a part of it in that way will never understand about the fight game?
Just the hard work, man. The hard work, the practices that break you. My coaches did a really good job making sure I can go 5 rounds pretty easy, I feel like. But they did a really good job on breaking me and making sure those double days counted, So, and that's the stuff that people don't see, all the blood, sweat, and tears, the hard days, the days that just like impact. Monday will be easier, Tuesday will be easier, and then the days catch up by the end of the week where you're just like exhausted, kind of looking forward to my day off. And but those are the days I think people know, like no one sees, but everything will pay off.
And what would you say, Orion? Would you agree, or do you see something else kind of in your path that people just don't understand about the life of a fighter, especially where you're at in your career and where you're trying to get to?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I've been in a couple of failed relationships because, people think that, it's going to be cool with the fighter. I let family and friends know straight up, like, fighting takes precedence over everything. Growing up doing wrestling, you fucking sacrifice time with your family and friends. It's rough, But I think the one thing a lot of people don't realize is how much you actually sacrifice with your family and friends, going to family gatherings, going to someone's birthday, having, a friend you haven't seen in 2 years, but hey man, I'm going to be down in the area, but you're so busy and caught up getting ready for a fight. It's like, nah, we can't really meet up right now. I'm just, all that's taken. And I don't regret it though. I'm down. Like, I got those family and friends that are close. I understand it. And I think the biggest thing that taken away from all this is how much sacrifice you got to make every single day. Whether it be waking up early to go run or waking up early to train or even staying up late to train. What was it? Not last night, but 2 nights ago, I was up at 2 a.m. running at the track just because it's one of those things where I'm kind of a night owl, but I can also wake up early and train too. So I just figure I'm going to be doing what no one else is doing, and that's the big thing. It's a sacrifice of it all.
So getting that contract for both of you guys, because you obviously have the work ethic and you made all these sacrifices, will that just make you hungrier being in the UFC, or just kind of continue the momentum that you're building on?
Yep. Most definitely. I mean, there's no pausing after this. This whole entire next fight is just a fucking stepping stone.
Yep. First goal is to get there, then after that, and more goals after that.
Yep.
Start winning.
So getting the UFC, are you guys under the impression that like getting to the UFC is one thing, but it doesn't mean anything until you actually get in there and throw hands with somebody in that octagon?
Well, yeah, I think so, because this fight's not going to be under the UFC banner, So just you have to win to get into the UFC. So, I mean, the first win to get under the UFC would be even bigger, I feel like. So, yeah. But take one fight at a time, and we'll see how it goes.
There you go. This is
fights sooner than later, though. We hate waiting. I fought 3 times in 5 weeks. He's fought about twice in 6 weeks before, or even sooner than that. And we
4 times in 5 months.
Yeah, 4 times 5 months. And we really do not like waiting. We hate it. After we win, and I actually really believe we're just going to go out there and dominate our opponents. That's how confident I am in both of us. But I'm always that way with the both of us. I'm just going to tell Dana White, fucking get us fights sooner than later. Again, I hate waiting. I got a wedding coming up, and, he's trying to get more fights. That way he can get a bigger house and, just focus solely on training all the time. So it's one of those things where that's all we want to do is be able to just train for our career and just fight when we need to. But I want to fight consistently 4 or 5 times a year. I don't care. And then once I get that belt in the future, same thing, trying to defend it 3 or 4 times a year. I fucking hate how most of these guys defend once a year because they're fucking, political or religious views. It's like, no, defend the fucking belt.
I mean, you're already going to be in Vegas. There's a card coming up on the 22nd, another one on the 29th. Just stay there and turn you guys right around 4 days later.
If they fucking don't put me on a 7-day suspension, like if I go out there fast, though, yeah, we don't even need to give you medical suspension. I'm going to tell them, like, I'm ready to cut weight again. Like, I can make weight by Friday. I'm serious. I'm down.
That would be so amazing if that were to happen. So you're getting married, Orion?
Yeah.
When is that happening?
Not till late September, so I got plenty of time to get at least 2 or 3 more fights within that time frame.
2 or 3 in 6 weeks' time. I love it. So, I mean, at least with all the sacrifices you've made, you've found someone apparently who understands the life of a fighter and the fight game itself. That is not easy to find in this sport, and you have found it. That's got to be very helpful for you, right?
Oh, it's awesome. She doesn't even complain about my training. In fact, she complains if, like, she sees me, she's like, "Did you fucking train today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, you gotta calm down." I already trained. I'm about to go train later. She's like, "You better train hard." So it's pretty cool. She helps with my nutrition too, because everyone knows how it is. Like, but my brother knows what it's like after a hard training session. He's probably not wanting to cook anything. So it's nice, you know, being able to have those people by our sides that are able to, like, know what it's like for us. They've seen it, you know, and sure, it's going to be hard on them, but they understand the sacrifice we make to be able to put food on the table, in words of saying.
Lewis, have you found that special someone yet?
Yeah, I got a girlfriend. I'm not with my kid's mom anymore. I've been separated for a couple of years now, but I've been with my new girlfriend for about 2 years now, and it's been awesome. She's a good person, works hard, helps me and my kid out a lot, so it's a good situation.
That's great. Well, this is obviously a really cool storyline this season, especially since you guys are both fighting back-to-back on August 18th. That's amazing. Contender Series. Lewis, Orion, appreciate the time very much. Congratulations on the opportunity. All the best to you on August 18th. And how crazy would it be if you guys get quick wins and then turn right around and fight 4 days later? Now you got the wheels spinning a little bit. So thank you guys.
That'd be awesome. I'm down. Well, we'll fight 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
We don't care. We just want to fight.
I got to get that W.
Yeah,
but that'd be sweet.
You could just stay in Vegas for a month and you could fight, like, you could flip-flop weeks. Lewis fights 1 week, Orion fights the next. There you go.
I already get one contract done and then get another one signed.
There you go. I love the attitude. Thank you, guys. All the best to you next Tuesday.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks, guys.